No, I think so. I tweeted earlier. We talked about this. Your stream on the INC token, and you did a live and AMA, and talked about a lot of different things there. And you really, I love that you talked about the HEX price. It wasn't with this hopium thing of like, I think presenting both sides, the two camps of a lot of people think, got to get their copies, HEX to the moon, that part. There's the whole camp for that, and the other camp is like HEX going down, EHEX, like why would you buy it right now? Saving dry powder for PulseChain and all that. Those two camps, there's a lot of people on both sides of that, and I think it's really good to understand both of those cases and why they think the way they do, because that helps you formulate your own decision and your own what you believe and decisions you're going to make in the next 7 days. Sounds like. So I don't just tying this back into mindset a little bit. The type of emotional response that comes from those two competing sides and people not wanting to hear the other one, it never makes sense to me anymore. I think I've just been out of that for so long. I've been out of that. I want the objective stuff. I want the facts, and I want to decide for myself. But there's so much emotions and negativity that comes from you're saying something that goes against what I think, or you're saying something that fuds my bags. That phrase gets thrown around all the time. I just want to have a conversation where we can talk about what's going on, and if it's two sides that have some merit, let's talk about them. That's not FUD. That's just having a conversation, an open conversation about something. And then you could say, oh, let's go advance and say, oh, but people listen to what you say. They're going to, if you talk about something now, you're going to make it become true because everyone's going to start doing it. So we just always, is everyone just out there just have a narrative? Like we can't have an objective conversation because somebody might do something based on something that we talked about, that they have this ideal now. Now it's like, what kind of rabbit hole are we going down? Like, let's just have a conversation, and then people are going to do what they're going to do. Do you think it ties into money? People are literally like, if somebody says something and they naturally want to say you're flooding my bags because they want to sell at a certain point. They want the other side to work because that's what they're planning for. Is it the money maximalism stuff? Like what, the toxic form of it, I guess. How do you reason about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be a few different things. The first thing that was coming to me was like, why are you like, it's the first thing I try and think about for that is like, okay, well, why would someone scream FUD? Like, why are you so sensitive? Or, well, I don't want to say sensitive, it might be the appropriate word, but why does having the other side of the argument, possible other side of reality, something that you're not expecting, or that doesn't go in your favor, why does that trigger something that makes you speak like that? Because I think it's super, like, the more you can look, like you've said, at something on both sides of the equation, you're going to be able to make a better decision. It's going to define it better for you. And at least even understanding, let's say you're looking at this and for whatever reason, it makes 100% sense for you that HEX goes down. You know what? You might actually be able to still make yourself understand that, okay, well, if it goes down, I'm expecting this. Like, I kind of can see why it would do that, but I still think maybe holding it is the best route because I'm not playing the short-term game. So it doesn't matter to me if it goes down because I'm playing for a year or two down the road. And when that happens, we're in a different ballpark, like 10,000 feet up in the air, and it doesn't matter what happens in the short term. So whatever, man. But also, I don't know why necessarily. I don't fully understand why. I think it's just, I would love to hear give me a minute to think about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on why you think people are not wanting to go there.
I think that I think it goes back to maybe so if I were to steel man their point, if I were to steel man, don't talk about things that are against what may be the best interest for me. It is doing things in your best interest. If you want HEX to go high, then you're going to be less likely to talk about a potential dump, just logically speaking. So if you've got a bunch of HEX, and this goes beyond the, I mean, there's certain healthy ways of doing it. Hey, you got a lot of HEX. I'm going to be here for a long time. I got a lot of stakes. I'm going to be promoting it, helping and stuff like that. However, if you have a lot of HEX and maybe you're planning on selling it at a certain point, or you know, you want to try to trade and catch the pump or whatever it is, you don't want to hear about it may dump. I think that's, and because, and again, this is like still manning it, because it is in your best interest that it doesn't dump. So if other people are talking about it doing that, part of you fears that it may become true because people are getting informed of other things that may happen with it. And I get it, but at the same time, that's not, again, that's just not what, I don't know. Maybe I just don't do things in my best interest a lot of times. Maybe it is part of me, like that objective truth, like wanting to know both sides. And maybe, you know, okay, again, just like if I were to, would it be better for me to get, okay, that's not you. Most people aren't you. And the herd, you know, affectionately referred to, everyone, the herd needs to not have something to go wreck themselves. Like I'm trying to like, reasons why you wouldn't talk about the narrative that you don't like, or be counter to what you want to happen. You don't want to lead the herd in the other direction. I don't know. I think there's a lot of nuance that goes with, okay, how many people actually listen to you? Do you have 50K followers versus 5K? And then, but at the same time, it just, part of me is just like, why does it matter? I think people get caught up going for the maximum. I don't know. To me, making the maximum amount of money possible and prioritizing that over everything else seems to, there's a risk of corruption. There's a risk of corrupting and losing and sacrificing other things. And that's, again, the reason I don't monetize the show, the reason, you know, you won't hear me saying things I don't truly believe, or having people on that I don't like really, you know, maybe believe are good, or for the ecosystem, or I don't agree with, or, you know, are counter to something. I don't maximize towards that. I don't want to sacrifice everything else. It's the extreme example would be, you know, I don't want to sacrifice my integrity to get all these, the 20,000x, the 50,000x or something. I'm happy with 10,000x, say it like that. You know, I think there's certain things worth not sacrificing, even if it's not in my best interest. I'm not going to say everything that's in my best interest, because I believe other things are I hold other values higher. I guess that'd be the best way I could explain it.
I think that's the way to do it. Yeah, the higher, if you have something else that you hold higher value, you're not going to really care about the other side. You know, I think you nailed it. I don't think I could say anything else on that front, man. You killed it.
You asked me to elaborate, and I was like,